Good morning, grade 9s, and welcome back to Quarantine English with Mr. Fouché. So today we are just going to continue with our marking of the activities that you received from Mrs. Heron about 2 weeks ago. So we are starting on page 6 today and finishing with page, let me make sure here, 8. So from page 6 to page 8, so not a lot to do today. You will also see it says extra English activities grade 9 at the very top. So that's all we are going to be marking for today. So without further ado, let's get started. First, we start with activity 1, which asks you to replace the proper nouns with pronouns. So proper nouns need to be replaced by pronouns in the following sentence. So first of all, let's identify our proper nouns here. We've got Susan, which is the name of a person. Bill, also the name of a person. Bill is repeated here. And that seems to be it. So Susan decided to teach Bill about music theory because Bill had to write a test about it that day. Now Susan, we can use the proper noun, or the pronoun, pronoun, she. So she decided to teach him, which again is a word I can use to replace the proper noun. So she decided to teach him about music theory because he had to write a test about it that day. And there we go. Now we go on to activity 2, which is reported speech, but with a slight twist here. In this case, you have to make the following sentences direct speech. Now this means I will still have to look at my reporting verb and see in what tense it is. As you can see here, I'll highlight it for you, or underline it at least. If it is in the past tense, like number 1, then you will have to still follow those 3 rules, but in this case, the inverse of them. So I'm still going to be looking for pronouns, which I need to change. I am still going to be looking for the tense, but this time it's shifting up and not down. So I'm not going further into the past, in a sense. I'm now going back to the present, to the time that it was initially said. Because I'm doing this, rule 3 also needs to be applied, which means time and place words are going to change. So, number 1 says, Sally said that she would not like to visit the music store the following day. Here we first look for our pronoun, which is this one over here, which would change to I, because she's talking about herself. Then again, because this is in the past tense, as you can see over here, would will change to will. There we go, will. There we go. Okay, so Sally said that she will not like to, so this is I will not like to visit the music store. The following day is a word we use for tomorrow. And there we go. So Sally said that, I take that out, of course. I will add my quotation marks. I will not like to visit the music store tomorrow. Okay, hopefully that one makes sense. Let's get on to number 2. Now number 2 asks you, or as you can see here, it says, which makes this in the present tense. So again, I will have to add quotation marks. Remember your quotation marks for this one. So I'll have to change he to I. So Peter says, comma, quotation marks, I. I'm still going to use was. The reason for this is that my reporting verb was in the present tense. It's that simple. So Peter says, comma, quotation marks, I was very happy about yesterday's performance. And quotation marks again. You end it there. Okay. Apologies, I kind of write all the answers here on the questions themselves. You'll just have to listen to what I'm saying to get the correct answers, but I'm trying to indicate the correct answers as far as I can. So there, the answer would be, Peter said, comma, quotation marks, I am, no not am, sorry, I was very happy about yesterday's performance. Let's get on to 3. Jenna asked if John could play the drums. Asked, being in the past tense, means I have to apply all 3 rules in the inverse. So Jenna asked, and the if I can take out. When I use questions, I replace that with if, but in this case, we are going to take that out because it's now in direct speech. Now, what happens here is your auxiliary verb and your subject here needs to take different space, change places to indicate a question because of asked. So asked tells me that there will be a question mark at the end of my answer. So I will change these around to indicate the answer. So Jenna asked, comma, then remember the quotation marks here. So it's going to be comma, quotation marks. Can John play the drums? Question mark, and then quotation marks. I'll repeat it. Jenna asked, comma, quotation mark. Can John play the drums? Question mark, quotation mark. Okay, hopefully that all makes sense. Now we can continue on to activity 3, which was quotation marks again. Here we have to add quotation marks where they are needed in the following text. So, I am not interested in music, Sally said. Here I will have to add quotation marks over here and over here because they are the direct words of Sally. Okay, so I am not interested in music, Sally said. You can add a comma here as well to make it a little bit more grammatically correct, or to make your punctuation correct there. To which John asked in reply. Again, we have to add the comma here because these are his direct words. How can you not? And technically, everyone, this H should also be a capital letter. Now we have, I have better things to do with my time than listen to music. First of all, we can add a full stop here to indicate the end of the sentence or of the previous statement. Now we can add quotation marks again for I have better things to do with my time than listen to music. I'll add quotation marks here again to show the end of that quote. She replied, and try and add the comma here as well. Activity 4, identify the following phrases and phrases. If they are, identify if the following phrases are idioms or proverbs and explain what they mean. There we go, eventually I got it correct. So here we just have to say that these phrases are proverbs or idioms. From the previous lesson, you should remember, proverbs give advice and idioms just state things in a figurative manner. So let's continue with this one. We've got the first one, a fool and his money are soon parted. This is advice. If you are foolish with your money, then you will lose it. So this is a proverb. And again, I'll explain what it means. Unintelligent people lose their money easily, or people who do foolish things with their money lose their money easily. 2. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Also, everyone, this should be one word. Cannot is one word. This also is a proverb because it gives advice. And what it means, a group that is divided will fail. Let's get on to 3. You cut corners. This is an idiom. I'll write it here next to it. So, idiom. And this idiom means that you are taking a route that is easier or shorter than a conventional route. And we get to 4. A leopard cannot change its spots. Again, cannot just needs to be one word there. Remember this. A leopard cannot change its spots. This is an idiom. Which means that people tend to stay the same. They do not change. Now let's get on to activity 5, which is a punctuation activity. So we have to punctuate this correctly. First of all, I've got a proper noun here, which means the R changes to a capital letter. Wish to travel to the Nile River. Again, we've got a proper noun. Remember, whenever you've got the name of a river, for instance, or a mountain, river and mountain in these two examples will always be capitalized as well. They make part of the name. So Nile, spelled with a capital letter, and river as well. Egypt, as we all know, is also a proper noun, which means it gets a capital E, and then I have to add a full stop to show that the statement has ended. Activity 6, conjunctions. Add conjunctions to link the following sentences. So here we have two sentences. There's one and there's the second one. And they need to be joined. Now here what I would do is use a conjunction. For the first one, you can say, John dislikes the sun, comma, because he received sunburn at a young age. Remember, if you add he here, it will have a lowercase letter and not a capital letter. Next one we've got, Sunette loves rock and roll music. However, she does not like Metallica. In this case, again, here we are going to link the sentence. We're going to use a comma. However, I think I gave the answer in my explanation as well. I'm just that smart, you know. So there we go. Sunette likes rock and roll music, comma, however. And here you can take the second reference to the name and use it and use the pronoun for this. So you can use she does not like Metallica. Activity 7, stereotypes. So write a paragraph of no more than 3 sentences wherein you explain the effects of placing people into a stereotype. So first of all, it is a widely held or fixed, oversimplified image that you create. So you look at a person and you will place them into a box. This box is something, an oversimplified idea of a group. So first of all, you've got an oversimplified idea about a group. That would be the first thing to note. Secondly, the appearance of someone will make you place them into this little box that you have created. So imagine someone wearing a leather jacket. If they look like a mean person, who's perhaps a biker, who knows, then you will judge this person accordingly and place him into your subgroup of those are bikers. And what you do then is you give them characteristics without even knowing who they are. So if you had 3 parts to this, you can say that oversimplified idea about a group would be the first thing. Then it would be appearance. The appearance makes you place them in this, appearance makes you generalize. Okay, so appearance makes you generalize. That's not an O. That's a horrible attempt at an O. So there we go. Appearance makes you generalize. And after that, you give them characteristics. So again, you don't actually know who these people are, but just by the way that they look, you immediately give them characteristics. So you say they must be like this because they look like that. And in your mind, everyone who looks like that is part of the same group or fall under the same group. So all of them have the same characteristics. So the problem with this is that everyone is unique, and even people within a group tend to differ from each other. So when you do use stereotypes, you tend to oversimplify people. Let's continue on to activity 8. I think I've spoken enough about stereotypes. could be an entire lesson on its own. So with activity 8, let me make sure here, yes. Activity 8, you have to write down synonyms, antonyms, and homophones for the various words that you have been given. So for the first word, unstoppable, something that cannot be stopped, you can use a word like uncontainable. Uncontainable. To destroy, to obliterate. It's a really nice word, to obliterate. Now you get to antonyms. You have to find the opposite meanings of these words. So unbelievable is quite an easy one to do here. Just believable. And loud, quiet. Okay, and also remember that quiet is spelt like this, with the E inside the Q and the T. If you ever write this word, you are saying quite. Okay, something to remember there. Now we get on to homophones. These are words that sound the same, but have different spelling and different meaning. That's why you have to use them in a sentence in order to show the different meanings. So hole here is just a hole in the ground, whereas the homophone of this word has an H in front of it, which means entire. Then we get to to, which is no, and the homophone is no, but this time spelt completely differently, and this is to have knowledge of something, to know something. Now activity 9. Here we've got a cartoon where one guitar says to the other, we have some bad news. Your uncle was smashed. Okay, so this is a pun playing on the word smashed, which is an informal way of saying that his uncle was drunk. But in this case, because they are guitars, rock stars are known for smashing their guitars. It can mean that as well. So we've got two meanings for that word. So as you can remember from the previous lesson about figurative language, this is a pun. So explain the irony of the above cartoon, and here you can talk about the double meaning of the word smashed. And you can also here use your word unexpected. Do you remember this word? I hope so. So, unexpected is a great word to use when talking about irony. And here you can say, one would expect an uncle who is smashed to be drunk, but in the cartoon, the uncle has been broken by a rock star. There would be a good example of an answer. 2. Does the guitar on the right move? Explain your answer. And yes, it does move. And you can just say that there are lines around it indicating movement. These lines over here. So yes, it does move, and these lines indicate movement. Activity 10 is a diary entry. Now with diary entries, and I'll quickly just over here write it down. So with diary entries, the best way to write this is always start with your date at the very top, usually the top right. So today is it's the 2nd of May. It's when I'm doing this lesson. It's not really the 2nd of May today. You did not just go into a time portal. So you can say 2nd May 2020, and then you can write down Dear Diary. You'll also notice this is a capital letter because diary is the name of something. It's the name of the book that you are talking to. And then for your entire entry, you have to use emotive language, which is just a fancy word for saying you need to be emotional. You have to talk about your emotions. So what did you feel? So most of your sentences are going to start with an emotion that you experienced, and then you explain why you experienced this emotion. Then we get on to activity 11, which is a notice, gender, and note. There you go. 3 parts to this. So you are having a meeting with your band. Write a notice, agenda, and note of 120 words in preparation for your meeting. So in this case, you are going to have an entire notice. So you will have a list of contents, a list of things that will happen in your meeting. Okay. First, it will be like a welcoming. So you'll say which band members are present. You'll make apologies for the band members who are not there. Then you will talk about the things that you discussed previously, which are accepted notes that you made. And after that, you will discuss notes that were given up for debate during the previous meeting. After they are discussed, you can list new things you want to talk about in the notice, or not the notice, the meeting you want to have next. Okay, we'll do this one in more detail when it comes to term 2, when we actually see each other in class again. Won't do it justice to do it now. And the last activity that we have here is activity 12, the review of an advertisement. So to start off, we'll have write or what product is being advertised in the advertisement above. As you can see, it is a guitar. There we go. 2, what is this company's name? Okay, in this case, Guild. That is the name of this company. And 3, how would you improve upon the advertisement? Now here you can say many different things like the font size, the slogan. You can upgrade the slogan, make it slightly better or more catchy. You can use different pictures of the guitar. And in this case, you can say to add color. But do remember, you cannot really use this answer. So just write here to add color. You can use this answer now because there is color in the question. But in your tests, for instance, you cannot use color as an answer because your test is printed in black and white, which means you never had a reference as to what the color was. So in a test situation, you cannot use this. Okay, everyone, and that is our marking. Finally, we are done with this. And the next time I do one of these lessons, we will actually be discussing work, the normal type that we tend to work through, which will be a little bit more exciting than just doing marking. So thank you everyone for tuning in to Quarantine English, and hopefully we can do another lesson soon. Stay safe and goodbye.